session we had in the morning. So these are all the topics as a part of the workshop we have already covered, and can go back. For them, we'll recap. Yes. So what is EMG? So what basically we understand is this is the workshop. 1 week we were talking about this particular topic, and everybody knows what is the uh, measurement. So any change in human structure is measured using two important things. One is the sensor, and the sensor, what we do. See, say for example, when I do acceleration, when I do a change in position, how do the dynamic change is measured? That is electromyogram for sports. So when I talk about, when I say it's a sports, you're all from different streams. You can ask why and how it is going to be used for sports. Is that right? So when we say how it is going to be used for sports, the criticality in analyzing this aspect is different. So the electrical activity is, you very well know that there is a action and resting potential. Any activity, say for example, if I am rubbing my hand, you see that heat is produced, electrical activity is recorded. So there is a change in electrical activity in my palm. So I need to measure that electrical activity. Any sensor requires a electrical activity. So that is what is done through electromyogram. So when there is a change, when there is a dynamic change, say for example, a cricket match. So when a cricketer is sitting, when a ball is on a face, it tries to slightly hinder that stump. We cannot measure. See, the wicket keeper will claim that he has taken a wicket because always he is on other side. But a batsman will say that it has not happened. What would be the role of umpire? He should give a command, but you see that he does not have a clear appearance because his pad or some other else will block the thing. So he has to go for third umpire, and he will say that the third umpire will uh, be in task. So he will analyze the data, and after some time he may give out or not. So everything, you see that the results will be heuristic. Nobody will believe the results. If it is out, one set of people will be happy. If it is not out, one set of people will not be happy. So this is a challenge for anything. So this is almost like a control system problem. How do we take up this for analysis? So the analysis will speak about a change in motion. Any change in the motion is called as dynamic motion, or sometimes it is called as a static. Okay, when there is a static or dynamic, I need to evolve the measurement. So the signal, whatever I am getting, yes, signal you are getting, but your signal is also having some suppression. And your suppression in the signal will block the originality in the output. So, Archana, please inform the participants there is an evaluation. They should not miss, because finally we have to put grading for all the evaluation. Ask them to be on time. Huh? Okay, so this is how you see that sports and mechanics are very much correlated. Say for why it has been extended, this is a rehabilitation program by many of the agencies, which talks about the rehabilitation for poor and needy. So when a sports person is getting injured, he cannot turn up for more than a year or so. You see, his motivation is lost, his passion is lost, everything will be lost, and definitely the output is not so achieved. So there are very intricate surgeries done by the hospitals. We call this as arthroscopy. When there is any injury, they don't want to be settled for 1 year or 2 year. Immediately, without penetration, they will do the surgery and make him to do the normal routine. So this was the discussion what we had in the morning. So this was the same discussion what we had in the morning. Next, why? Because it used in, go back, the activation patterns in sports and in movement. So this is a very interesting and with reference to these outputs. So next is what is the change we need to have? So we need to talk about the anatomy and motor units where the flexibility in the structure has to be measured. Flexibility in the structure in the sense I need to measure. You see, unit. So when you see that there is a motor unit which triggers your sample, it actuates. What does your motor unit do? It is a motor neuron and muscle fiber. So only any operation, any surgery is interlinked. It has cardiac, neurophysiology, orthopedics, ophthalmic if it is in near eye. Everything is integrated as a part of a control system. So when we talk about these things, you see two important measurements. Any human body, one is to penetrate, one is physiological, which is invasive, another is a non-invasive measurement. So this is what the target, what we inferred, the applications with respect to motor activation pattern. Another is strength training, that is muscle activity and strengthening the muscle. See, why you are doing dumbbells is to strengthen the activity of your muscle. Why you are walking is to strengthen your appetite. So these things makes you to have more strength for any muscular activities. So when we do all these things, you see that this is very, very important. Injury prevention and rehabilitation. This is for this only the entire research program is carried out. So when we talk about the injury prevention and rehabilitation, control mechanisms are very important. So as I said, there is a separate control theory called as model predictive controller, which predicts the estimates of past, present, and future. So when I talk about the present, you see that I am at this point of time, the instant of variation is k, k plus 1 and k minus 1. So this is how the integration starts with respect to the prevention and rehabilitation. So when I do say that there is a prevention and error mechanism, we call this as a feedback system. Feedback system is very, very important, especially when we do such measurements. So research and development, you see that everything is understandable and equipment design with respect to EMG studies to cater the muscle function. So with this 9 slides in the morning, we have completed, and this is a recap for those who haven't done. So we'll start from the 9th slide. So this is what the characteristics. Any signal which requires a better understanding. So when I say that my signal is going, how and why it is called as a raw EMG. Anybody? It's a raw EMG. I am saying this as a filtered EMG. The raw EMG has some inherent, you see, so much of blackishness here. What does it infer? Huh? Noise. So noise due to what? So noise due to motion. What do you mean by motion artifacts? See, many of them do not know what is motion artifacts. Movement of muscles for what? Okay. So this is a classical example. You have a EEG seizure disorder. What do you mean by seizure disorder? Fits patient. You know Fits, no? Fits patient. So when a patient is subjected to fits, okay, you see that naturally the fits will happen within, not in a time. It starts with a fraction cramping of your muscles. Am I right? When your muscles cramp, it generates inherent noise. So your effect of noise will be seen here. Is that right? So your muscles cramp. Whether the muscles originality, yes, this is the originality of the signal. But many people say we want to take the data from the database. When you take a data from a database, whether you have such a raw signal. Yes, anybody? say for example, Kaggle and other databases I have. If I take database, whether my signal is going to be like this, yes, yes or no? So there will not be any inherent noise present. See, say for example, in basic signal processing, I am doing an analog signal conditioning circuit and I am having a fan. So when I want to measure the output in a CRO, that time itself you could see that the effect of noise created by the fan over the circuit is visible. Is that right? So when such is the case, when I do a design circuit, I can do some filtering. I'll say I will use FIR, IAR filter to remove the noise. When the noise is removed, the originality is removed. Am I right? When the noise is removed, the original. So when everything is removed, then what is the challenge you are going to have? Can you able to understand? So having noise, filtering it, I am trying to get a originality in the signal, which is called as a filtered signal. You use any filter for processing. Okay, any filter for processing. So such would be the mechanism for a raw versus processed signal. So with respect to signal acquisition pipeline, you see that there are several mechanisms. So what do you mean by a data acquisition system, sir? Everybody was talking and 1 week lecture has been almost in the verge of validatory function. Why a signal processing or a data acquisition system is very important? What exactly is that? See, you see a EEG recording. You are seeing. I was seeing on Monday. There was a sensor node. You measured everything. Okay, everything is good. So we have a scientist from agriculture. From his point of view, I'm talking about from his point of view. Why a signal acquisition is important? Hmm. Yes, that is what that is what he whatever I want to say is that you see it is like a effect of jattering. You see effect of jattering. I will miss my originality in the signal. I cannot effectively use a control law. If I filter it, I can see what is my control law and how I can design a variable. So when say for example the operating temperature of air conditioner, I set that as a 27 degrees Celsius. What is my room temperature? Huh? So when my room temperature is there, I am having a set point. Whether you want your controller to go and reach the room temperature and get down. Can you able to understand the analysis of a temperature characteristics? So like that, you see any signal character is the originality. So I cannot say, sir, I have to do this measurement. So everything is done through acquisition platform. So when I do acquisition, see many of the biomedical, why India does not have a development in biomedical is because of this. Everybody at last go and say, sir, ECG get a imported company. For EEG get a imported, EMG get a imported. Everything is imported. Then what is made in India? What is the use? I'm right. So when I was talking to one professor, he said, "Sir, everything we need not work. Everything is already available. What we are going to work in biomedical is different." See, that is the challenge. That is the challenge. Why? Because why biomedical fraternity is now started growing in our country. They try to develop hardwares, try to develop hardcore circuits. If we develop a circuit, then we can analyze why the measurement is having mismatch. Is that right? See, many a times we'll take ready-made ECG, EEG, EMG. All these companies are not Indian companies. All are internationally branded. There is a different story behind that. I don't want to speak before the August gathering. Indigenization is not allowed, especially this medical fraternity. Even though you design everything, if you call a doctor and show the results, he will say pitfalls. Why? Because the story is different. There is other part of the story which I don't want to speak in a public forum like this. It's a different story. What we have to bother is that we need to develop a acquisition system. See, now everybody started saying, I am using Python for biomedical. I am saying this is for uh, processing. So when we say, when you take an example of NIFTM, National Institute of Food Processing Institute, where we have done some many of the collaborative works on solar assisted cold storage unit with them. How to develop the sensor? Okay, so really it's a very good institute. You have to go and visit and see. It's a post harvest technology. It's not a pre harvest, it's a post harvest. Am I right? So for post processing, paddy or anything, yeah, they have very good incubation center. They have an excellent entrepreneurship program. I think more than 400 companies are connected. Am I right? So when the same is not happening in biomedical fraternity, everybody speaks about startup environment. Why? Because the stakeholder is a farmer. He wants to take a technology, because last week when I was in National Research Center for Banana on their foundation day, there was 3 challenges in my life. So the challenges are very simple. First challenge, when I took a class for deaf and dumb students in one of the leading university in southern part of Tamil Nadu, where that only university has a university for engineering, for a graduate program for deaf and dumb students. It was the name of the university is Kalasalingam University in southern part of Tamil Nadu, where the students admitted all are deaf and dumb. Okay, but when I took a class on circuit theory, I cannot stop I have to stop my lecture every now and then, because all the students were asking questions. They are not physically disabled, they are mentally able. We say that it is a physically they are disabled, but they are mentally able. Okay. Next challenge was with NRCB. Last week only that challenge I had. I am chairing the section for AI and smart banana manufacturing. There is a research institute called as National Research Center for Banana here. The event started sharply at 10, had a very good banana food, everything was good. But 2 o'clock we started the session. AI on smart banana manufacturing. Okay. All the principal scientists, a very important subject on water, on health monitoring of the crop, and also how to protect the crop after post harvest. The speakers were from international, and they had a very strong international experience. Immediately during the presentation itself, farmers stopped their presentation. You see, the backbone of our country is Indian agriculture, is farming. Okay, that real challenge I could see that all the farmers stopped the presentation of technology. All were stunned. Even I myself got stunned. Why? Because there was a director from iCare, New Delhi. There was another scientist from New Delhi. All are, they do not, they are asking, stop the questions, because they will be asking such a question that director is saying. But what one farmer is saying, no, don't ask question, give it in writing, we will send it to your WhatsApp. Okay. So he said, no, no, no. That farmer is saying, it is not for me. I am asking for the entire country. You have to answer in the public. All of them were quiet. Nobody, I myself got stunned. Why? Because I think I am not in the right place. I felt I was in the wrong place, because it was almost like agitation of farmers. I used to visit I think all the districts in Tamil Nadu. First day of a week, Monday, collector will redress the redressal mechanism. I have seen several meetings in collectorate. That was the worst scenario of a collector. One day he will be troubled, and remaining 6 days he will enjoy. Okay, so that is how the system was. And one farmer started asking him, "You are talking about artificial intelligence. What intelligence it has? You see my farm. I am doing an organic farming. You are comparing a farm with America, USA, with some automated system, and you are saying that it is a AI based farm. It is a deep learning farm. What ridiculous subject you are handling? Whether our India, it holds good for Indian farming? That was the question. The challenge was none of them could able to answer. None of them could satisfy. He's saying, what is the water level of a banana crop? Every water level is measured. But that fellow started asking pouring questions. We cannot speak. So at last, I was the last batsman to address the gathering. I really felt very bad. Why? Because that is where, see, solely I'm saying, without the knowledge of stakeholders, without the knowledge of environment, don't design anything. Nothing will survive, especially in India. See, many startups are emerging. It's a really challenge, I am saying. But how far they are successful now? Can anyone name from this crowd any single biomedical product? Any single biomedical product. Whereas I can name in agriculture. Whereas he can name in agriculture. Why? Because farmers want something to come out for the survival, but doctors never want anything. They don't want any technology from us. If you use technology, the charging level of a doctor will get reduced. Okay? Is it right? Try to filter out when you place it on the open source. Okay, so this is a very, I have so many strong effects on that. I will speak more because even many of my friends with doctors, I will used to say, technology is required for a farmer, whereas technology is not required for a doctor. Solely, nevertheless, you see, such kind of mechanism is very difficult for us. Very see, Dinesh himself said, for sports, why to use it? Is that right? But you see, many of the universities in US, all the sports institutes have an intelligent sensor monitoring system. Intelligent sensor monitoring system to track the event. See, now I am saying I am walking like a posture. You say that gait analysis, where it is used. Can anyone say where is that process has been used in gate system? Yes, yes. No, the people who are stealing from a jewelry shop is also not talking properly. Is that clear? Can you see? This was one of the challenge for a gate posture. One of the leading jewelry firm in Trichy, one fellow entered inside the jewelry firm. He looted everything. As madam said, he was also walking like that. Okay, with his face covered. Okay, only intuition of the police is to detect him through walking. Another go because he has covered his place. He has hit the camera, everything. Nowadays, when a thief is entering anything anywhere, first he will do all the things, then only he will enter. Only push. See, still we have results next to NIT, BHL, bank. A person who scolded for more than 3 years, the police is striving to get caught of the thief. Everybody is using intelligent automation. Okay, what happened was his walking posture was identified. His gait system was he made, how he walked, everything was characterized. And now the cyber crime police has identified that fellow. And for one particular shop, jewelry shop, they have caught. But the same thing has not happened for a BHL bank. So many intelligence in India will also be coming in these particular domains. Please try to capture all these things for our side. At that time, this may also be used for cyber crimes. Cyber crime is a separate cell. We have a exclusive R&D here. You know very well, Government of India is going to have 112 as a helpline, where this particular EMG studies we are also conducting. It is next to our temple. We have a Center for Emergency Response Support System, Government of India 112, that was inaugurated by our former DGP Sailendra Babu, and I am the consultant for that project. First project is how to identify the facial motion. When a person is going to do anything, his facial expression is going to change. For which myself and Karthik has worked on a very rigorous project on emotion identification, emotions, which I think this particular subject they haven't talked much about that. Emotion subjects are very, very important for many of the control schemes. So how do we see a emotion? Oh, see why when Narendra Modi or when CM is entering, you see so many people as a squad. You see everybody will be having one suitcase and seeing everybody. What is that? What is the purpose? What is the purpose? It is not to see how you people behave. How anybody is giving a physical change. Is anybody is going to give a physical change? Okay. So only you see the black cats or the police officials will see the effect of emotions on your expressions. Expressions will indicate what is going to be the next. So such kind of, so I think many of the, even I thought Dinesh will be speaking about emotions for cybercrime, but he haven't spoke about it because cyber forensic is one such important area which is going to dominate here on facial muscle expressions. Before a person is going to hit somebody, his facial changes are seen. So that is what in the morning I talked about predictions. I need to see the originality of the face before and at the time of event and after. When I compare these three things, then my sequential output will characterize the signal acquisition. So when I acquire this, that information is given to him so that morning I said, when we talk about so many things, AI, deep learning, everything, we cannot able to implement a AI based signal traffic signal control system. Why? Because once you have to wait for a signal means 20 minutes you have to wait. 20 seconds you have to wait. Until then it completes. Am I right? So this is a sequential system where AI will decide. So here this is a crowd. So allow the crowd, more crowd, less crowd, medium crowd. So decision support system. It's a decision support system. When decision support systems are strong, then only we could think of these kind of emotions nurturing the brain activity, EEG, EMG. So only interlinking, interfacing of all these three things will skeptically take a good decision system. Am I right? So a decision support system is very, very important. And decision support system should not be a event which is not logic. It should have a logic. If you don't have a logic, you cannot troubleshoot it. You cannot rectify the problem. You cannot maintain the solution. So you should have a rectification to identify. So any acquisition will help us to have these basic fundamental filtering, digitization, and amplification. So next is filtering. You know very well, filtering is very important. We have different types of filter. Any filtering will try to avoid the originality of signal. That is also a botheration. I will filter it, but I will lose my identity also. Is that right? So these kind of phenomena will help us to have understanding better. So based on this, better classification is time domain, frequency domain, and advanced features, where we are specific about these two things. When it is what is when we have an impact of signal over time domain and the frequency domain, you see that the signal strength is going to hamper my originality in the signal. So these features, these time domain features, which has, I think many of them knows what is time domain, frequency, and advanced feature characteristics. So this is what the sample example of a sprinter. You see that when the sprinting is happening, there is a thematic change. There is a biological change in terms of force, velocity, and acceleration. So when I want to capture all this motion, it helps to avoid the risk in monitoring. So I need to have a good estimation theory. See, when all the people are set on track and a bullet is shoot for runners, at a faster rate, when a person is taking sprinting, he should see the sprint of the others. He cannot just like that run, like driving a car. I should see the right mirror, left mirror, center mirror, then only I have to configure my car, or else I will be misplaced. So here, this is an event for to avoid the risk in monitoring. And you see that this has to be done through a push off. See, you'll be having hurdles. The entire track, that particular person will be set right. If the pushing capability and the strength of the positions are changed, then only you see that the sprinting level increases. Is that clear? So when the sprinter is, when do we say as a sprinter, he should accelerate the speed. If that fellow is trying to stop and then try to accelerate, he will be the last person to be reaching the goal. Is that right? So when such is the personality, how do I sprint myself? What does my sensor do? What does it? You see, at the time of practice, this is the role of the trainers. The trainers will guide that person to make this as an optimal path. Morning, I think the person said about we need to optimize the path. So how do we optimize? Based on this kind of sprinting. So next is cycling. You see the coordination. See, morning itself, I said the entire coordination cycle of sports is different. A person who play basketball is different. A person who play football is different. Hockey is orientation is different. Cricket is orientation is different. Javelin throw is event is different. So everybody have different orientation. I cannot make a cricketer to be a player in basketball. I cannot make a football player to be a hockey player. Is that right? So everything will have a sprinting level of acquisition based on the coordination and the efficacy analysis. So only I said, what is analysis? We need to do a statistical evaluation. Mean, standard deviation, all these are evaluations which helps us to identify the system and make the system as a possible logical outcome for any understanding. Is that right? So you see, these are all the different. See, for him, he has to make a static position at a faster rate, not a dynamic effect. Is that right? When he switches, when he lift a load, he should have the entire lift of energy raised to the entire body. Then only you see that the track training of the load and prevent over training. So this is with the different acceleration and identify the risk of muscles in basketball as well as in football. You see the level. We cannot have a fixed structure. It varies based on the orientation. So similarly, swimming, you see that the EMG different strokes, shoulder strokes are very important. Different front stroke, back stroke, and butterfly. Other strokes are present. So based on that, it helps in uh, having a stroke optimization. See, not only here, also in EEG studies, there is a stroke optimization in EEG studies. Sudden stroke make a person physically paralyzed. Sudden stop of blood flow into the human brain make the person paralyzed. So how do we stop all these things? This is the very important understanding, because if any signal monitoring system will make the doctor as a best suitable tool, he will understand the signal with a basic acquisition. So for which only a rehabilitation program is very much required. So can anyone name what are all the rehabilitation centers in India? Yes. Aish, yes. What are all the other rehabilitation centers? Nimhans, good. Yes. What are all the every state you have one, but many of them don't know where is that rehabilitation center. Huh? Yeah, Jaipur Foot in Tamil Nadu, where is the rehabilitation center? We have a very strong neuro rehabilitation center at CMC Vellore. Okay. Tiruchi, we have Hamsa Rehabilitation Center by Kaveri Hospital. Okay, many hospitals are now working for rehabilitation program. Why? Because see, uh, a patient who a kid yesterday today morning I said no, when a kid is born, parents teach them show apple, A for apple and B for ball. Similarly, after accident also, neuronal training to recover their memory is also happening like that. Many neuro centers are working to train or stimulate your brain. Many people during road accident they will lose their stability and the entire consciousness. They will retrieve the memory based on the old thinking. They will try to retrieve, keep on training them. And this training is, as I say, how do you train alphabet? A for apple, B for ball. Similar such neuro disabled trainings are conducted in rehabilitation program. Is that clear? And you see the current research is wearable EMG, sports, especially for sports, smart textile, and provides real monitoring during games. So current research is on motion, especially on motion capture, brain muscle coherence, That is what I said, EEG, EMG coherence, symbolic transfer entropy, that is STE, measurement coordination and information flow, and EMG in exoskeletons. So exoskeletons with lower limb and upper limb, how do we model? The best example is in the defense. You see many of the military crimes, especially the militants, used to shoot the neck of a soldier or on the backbone of their soldier. Why? Because they want to not next time none of them from the same family should enter inside military. So that is their objective, for which there is a defense exclusive program. And here Mallikarjuna Reddy is from DRDO Dibal. We can discuss with him in detail on exoskeletal model. Many of the smart codes for military personals, smart codes for the soldiers, border security force across the border. Everything is developed and developed. It's a division of biomedical electronics division at DRDO in Bangalore. Many such programs are going on. There is an exclusive rehabilitation center at Pune for this study. So how to make their livelihood to enhance? See, on one side militants will attack, on the other side government should support them to care about their future. So such is the program. You see that many such programs are there in EMG exoskeletons. So, and you can see what is the challenge. Data, always you see the data, capturing the data is important. And smart devices. Now everybody talks about wearable sensors and smart devices. So that is going to be the change. And all these things, see, the August gathering of many of the biomedical institutions, especially leading institutes in Tamil Nadu is here. So you have to think about these technology development on device development strategies. And what are all the emerging technology? We see real-time coaching facility and biofeedback system for EMG is all in venture. And when it comes to model development, see, as the part of the this course is mechanics of muscle, model, movements, and measurements. I need to integrate all these things. Without a model, without a movement, there will not be a model. So without a movement and without a measurement, there will not be a model. When all these three things going to happen, then only my muscles will activate. Is it clear? So if my muscle need to be activated, I need to have a model. I need to have a movement. I need to have a measurement. So without measurements, I can't have any data. So this is a very interesting EMG model for signal generation. You can see that how the signal acquisition, see, output of signal is measured based on the lateral and serious position. So there are several models. Morning I have spoken about some interesting features of model development. There are several model developments are in place. You see that the summative model assessment is understood by with respect to time, and you see the nominal fatigability for fatigability for a patient can be analyzed using NF, and how these models will evolve. So based on the equation, instantaneous firing rate, that is triggering of the sample, which is to time t with the delta of t minus tau t, which is a very small change in my signal strength. So based on this, we will be calculating the nominal fatigability and represents AP in terms of NF. So
spike means you are spiking, or spike for means we artificially spiking this.
yes, we are artificially spiking the scenario. So next is was talking about how model activation is going to happen here with respect to the originality of the signal. So current transportation function and the volume conductor function. So based on this, I will see how the evolution of the is going to characterize in terms of gamma and in terms of mean and Is that right? So based on this, this is a very important analysis for EMG models. And the functional model analysis for the factor, what we are going processing environment. So you see that these are all the inference and analysis what we have measurement when with reference to with respect to normalized and other spectral intensity. So these are all the some of the reference what we have taken, and based on this, this is a model. The model development in any of the EMG acquisition plays a very important role, and please take these model developments for future, and these model developments will enhance the scalability of any of the physiological human control system. So with this, I think we have covered the entire subjects on the mechanics of muscles, but it is for you. Please take into right spirit. Keep on sharing your thoughts in different domain, so that this particular research is going to help the medical fraternity by and large, which suits the requirement for the current scenario of our country. So do you have any doubts? So it is almost 2:30. Yeah, so there are several statistical models available. When it comes to spiking, you can even think of statistical spiking, which you can fix a covariance and covariance of a function so that it will have a constrained input. Is that right? You can fix the parameters. Covariance of a function will not allow your spike to go beyond. It will filter it out. Any questions? So any questions, if you have, please, because all the so far we have covered all the uh, sh- uh, information as per the schedule. If you have anything missed out or if you want any information, please let us inform so that we can complete. So if there is no queries, then I'll ask Archana, you can give the questionnaire for the last evaluation so that based on this, we will be evaluating all the answer script, whatever we have given. Maybe 1 or 2 days we also want to take some rest, so we'll take rest and then we'll evaluate. Maybe next week we'll send it to your mail about the grading. Already when there is a verge of completion, my our local Gyan coordinator asked me, sir, how do we give marks? So I said no, so far I haven't given any mark. I have given only questions, and let us see, maybe after the exam I will evaluate what is the level of grading, and all these things we will decide. So I think you can give both feedback form as well as the but first I think you give a feedback form. Don't give the answer sheet, because first you collect the feedback, then you give the question and answers. Huh?